Hello, everybody. Welcome. So we got a short episode of The Other Way, episode 6. Very short and sweet. So we're gonna talk about this. Hey, Tegan. We're gonna talk about this, and then I have not watched The Last Resort yet. So when this is over, I'm gonna jump over and watch The Last Resort. So just gonna talk about this episode that we saw here, and then tomorrow, hey Portuguese princess, tomorrow is when Cara, Didi, and I will react to The Last Resort, because I haven't even watched it yet. I had a really rough day, and when The Other Way was on, I was actually in downtown Orlando. I was stuck in traffic, so I literally just watched it like 30 minutes ago. So I'm gonna watch The Last Resort. Then I'm just waiting on Cara and Didi to join us. How is everyone's night, by the way? I don't know if I asked. Didi is joining. We're waiting on Cara to get here. I just texted her, so she might not be here right away.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was running late. I was not even like home when it was on, so I was watching it in the car. So I wasn't driving, but I had to watch it on my phone because I was like, shit, I'm not even close to being like home right now. So luckily it was a short episode, so there isn't a whole lot we gotta like break down. But hey Scott, there was a lot that went on. So I don't know where Cara is. I texted her, but not until like the very last minute. So maybe she'll join us, maybe not. I'm not like sure, but hopefully she will. But I didn't text her and tell her that I was running late. I just texted her like 5 minutes ago. So that's probably not fair. What's up, Scott? So, hot mama Jess. Hey. Okay, so I'm gonna get started because there's not a whole lot to get into, but I definitely want to like touch on a few things. We got Julio and Kirsten, and he was taking her back to the airport, and she's having second thoughts about him in general. Like he's very wishy-washy, and she's just wondering, what is she even doing? New bad boy. Okay, Scott. Okay, I see you. And I feel like she's gonna have to accept the fact that Julio is easily manipulated and he's easily influenced. And I could see in the preview for the next episode, she was telling her friend, she was like, he's gonna have to either show up in 3 months, that's when he would get his visa, or they're just gonna be done. And I kind of agree. I feel like she doesn't need to be waiting around for this guy. I feel like if he's not ready to be with her, she can do so much better, right? Like we could hook her up with somebody, right?
Yeah, the way he even hesitated whenever she said you're gonna be there in 3 months, right? He hesitated. So that right there told me that he's having second thoughts.
He's having third and fourth thoughts at this point. And it's funny because he told us in his package when we met him, he's like, oh, I hate living in this country. I've never felt home here. I would love to move overseas. And he has traveled a lot. He's very well traveled. He's been to other places. But I think the idea of traveling to other countries and moving to another country is so vastly different, because when you're traveling and you're visiting another country, you get to enjoy everything, the culture, the music, the food, the vibes, but then you get to get back on the plane and go home. And I think it's scary for him because he might not have a home. Like that house might get sold or re-rented, and he's not gonna have everything that he wants to come home to if things don't work out. And I think that Cara's here. Cara! And I think in his mind, that's a lot of a risk for him. I feel like he's not willing to risk that, especially his mom leaving his mom and making him feel like he's deserting her. I think as a mama's boy, hey, how are you?
Party.
I was running late today. My God.
Oh yeah, me too. I had a crazy day. When the show was on, I was still in the car in downtown Orlando. I wasn't even nowhere near my house, so I totally get it.
No, but I was watching it in the car on the way
Same.
home.
I was sitting in the passenger seat with my phone in my hand, like, I gotta watch this.
So I'm the only one today with my stuff together, huh?
Yes.
I was not in the passenger seat, but I had it mounted on the dash.
Right? I was like, man, I got to get through this. Then I had to come home and cook. Okay, so anyway, wait, let's not get sidetracked. So what do you think about Kirsten and Julio? Do you think that they're going to make this work? Or do you think, because my first mind was he's going to not show up in 3 months because he's already having cold feet.
Yep.
And I feel like putting her on that plane and sending her back to the Netherlands gives him an open opportunity to not follow through and not show up, right?
There wasn't a tear shed on either side when they departed, so.
Yeah, I saw that. And I feel like it's just the perfect opportunity for them to make an excuse to not continue.
Yep.
She'll be back in her home and happy. He'll be back with his family and happy, and they can just stop. Well, I liked what Kirsten said, though. She was like, if he doesn't show up here in 3 months, this is over. And I think that that's the best way to look at it. Don't waste your time. Don't have any false hope. Don't cling on to something that's not there.
Yeah.
Because she was like, if he doesn't show up here in 3 months, then there's no point of this going on. And she's right. If he can't commit to her and live with her, because apparently she's been looking for apartments. So when she found out from his friend that they might not be living together, we found out tonight she had already been looking at apartments to move in with him.
Yeah.
So that's even more of a betrayal for her. We thought that this was all talking. We didn't realize that she was visiting properties and looking at places and sending him pictures and sending him pricing and everything. And then she gets to Jersey and he's like, you know what? Maybe possibly we don't even want to live together. Now I get why that really caught her off guard.
Yeah.
Because they literally were making plans of things together. And then he gets there and his friend says one thing. And he's like, yeah, maybe we should just live separately. Now I totally understand why she was so pissed.
That's fine. She'll be perfect for Razvan. It's great.
No, right?
I like Razvan. You know what? But no, she can't be perfect for Razvan for one issue. Razvan wants to come to America and Kirsten has zero interest living in America. She has no interest. Like Kirsten was like, of all the things in the world, she didn't even really want to visit America. Like,
who'd be interested in moving to Jersey?
true.
Like Razvan is in Florida. Florida is a beautiful state.
Yeah.
So I mean, who wouldn't want to live in Florida?
I love Florida.
Well,
I do.
She's obviously got a tourist visa to come to the U.S. He's obviously got a tourist visa to come to the U.S. If they want to come to the U.S. together, they can visit.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I want them to be together. I totally support and ship that situation, but you know they're gonna have some issues to figure out too. Oh, so we found out who called it. Who said that they were in Mexico City to visit a doctor about surrogacy and embryo fertilization? Who said that? One of you said it. I don't remember who. Was it you? Yeah, Cara. You were like, I think it's very convenient that they are in Mexico City because this is a way to see the best doctors in Mexico to get that done. And then we found out that was one of the plans. The plan was to go see a doctor. And okay, so I'm new to this. So is $72,000 a normal number? Because I didn't see a real big reaction from Katie. Is that a normal number?
It's more than that in the U.S.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a lot. You can get on in the 100,000s.
Whoa, are you serious? And okay, so and we were talking in vitro fertilization, right? Well, that's what we were talking about. So not surrogacy. That's different, right?
Both. They were talking
Oh, so that was for both. Okay, so and then they could pick which one they wanted to do. Oh, I see. Okay, I see. So basically, it says she said in a year to a year and a half they will be walking away with a baby, which I thought was really fast, right? I mean, again, I'm not versed in this subject, but I was like, wow, that's really fast. And Kenny made the realization that at 60 years old, at 66, that baby will be starting kindergarten, and at 79, it will be graduating high school. And then when it was to get married and start a family, Kenny would be in his 80s. And then the worst fear for him was he wouldn't even get to meet this child's children. And that is a crazy, staggering thought, right?
Kenny's had that fear from the beginning. He's just now voicing it and putting the numbers out. But the one thing, I mean, I totally support Kenny and Armando. I love them. I think they're a great couple. I'm irritated that they're on this season because I don't think it fits. But the thing that pissed me off that Kenny said was this and this and this. What else will I miss? Who cares what you're going to miss? What's that kid going to miss when his dad dies at 12? You know?
I think
not okay.
Yeah, I think that when Kenny says these things, Armando doesn't see the severity of it, because he's like, oh, well, you're young at heart. And Kenny is young at heart. He does a lot of things that people his age don't do, okay? But the numbers are real, and it's hard to ignore, you know, when he put the timeline out there, like that child deserves to have a parent far into their 30s and 40s, okay? Like, that's just minimal. That's minimal. That's what you deserve as a human being. You deserve to have both of your parents in your life. And he knows taking that away from that child before it's even born isn't fair. And I also feel like Armando isn't looking at his side of it, because Armando's in his 30s. He's going to be there for that child. He's going to meet that child's children. He's going to be at the wedding for that child. Kenny can't be guaranteed those things. And I just feel like he's not looking at Kenny's side of it, and he's almost feeling that, you know, just give me what I want. Don't lead me on. Just give me what I want. And it's not necessarily what you want when you're married. It should be a joint decision that you both can agree with. And you could tell on the look in Kenny's face, he's never going to be okay with going through this. And funny.
In my opinion, it's like, okay, so Armando wants it to be a part of Kenny. Armando knows that in his head, God forbid something did happen to Kenny, Armando can raise it. Kenny's like, what am I going to miss out on? But from the outsider looking in, and as from someone who's lost both parents, I lost both my parents in my 40s, and it was freaking horrific for me. I'm still grieving. My dad died last year. My mom died 6 years ago. Like, I'm still grieving. I can't imagine losing either one of my parents, you know, as a teenager or in my 20s, even in my 30s. I mean, I'm so glad I got them as long as I did. But just the thought of losing one at a young age that's terrifying for any child.
I know. And I think what is strange to me is Hannah went through that when she lost her mom, and Armando was clearly right there with her. And I know how difficult that was for her to go through. And Armando too, at the time, that was Armando's wife, okay? Yeah. So them going through that and seeing what it's like to lose someone at such an early age, it's weird to me that he's not, you know, tuning into those feelings and thoughts and revisiting that and saying, hey, I know how difficult that would be because my own daughter went through that exact situation and I was the only person really there to help her get through it. And it's like he wants this baby so bad. And I understand when you marry someone and you want to build that family together, having that child with that person is very important. Yeah, I understand that, especially for same-sex couples. You want to share a part of yourselves with each other. Right. I definitely understand that, and it's not as easy, you know, for them to do. But again, man, I just feel like at his age, he's making the best decision for that unborn child. And I always tell people the best decision for you to make is always the hardest decision for you to make. And seeing Armando's reaction to how Kenny feels, it's always going to be the hardest decision you ever made, but it's always the best thing that you can do for everybody involved. People won't understand you're doing the right thing for them at that moment, but as time progresses, they will understand you made the best decision.
Absolutely.
I get both sides. You know, I get both sides. Armando wants to have a piece of Kenny for if something ever happens to him. He wants to have that piece, and he wants to grow the family. But Kenny doesn't want to put a child through that because the child is the one that's going to suffer out of it. So I get both sides. I get both sides. But at the end of the day, they need to come to an agreement, because Kenny's not going to suffer and Armando's not going to suffer. The child is going to suffer.
Right.
And not only the child, but Hannah will suffer as well. Who's to say that something won't happen to Armando before something happens to Kenny?
Yep.
That's true.
Absolutely.
I mean, so it's something that they've got to sit down and they've really got to talk about it.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, I feel like, because I was going to say I want them to find a happy medium, but I don't see one in this situation, because you nailed it. If Kenny makes Armando happy, the child is going to suffer in the long run. And if Kenny decides not to make Armando happy, there's going to be like a sense of animosity between the two of them. Because, you know, when you're in a relationship and you really want something and the other person doesn't, you tend to grow, you know, resentment towards that person for feeling that they took something away from you that you feel you're entitled to have. So no one's going to be happy no matter what the decision is. And I think it's so crazy how they stopped talking about moving and they moved so like more into the having the baby, because I think that's the real issue in their relationship. Like if they were just creating BS for the season, I think the baby is really what's important in that relationship, and they're not making that up. I think that's really something that they're struggling with. I feel like moving to Mexico City, give it or take it, they're going to be okay. I honestly don't think that they would. I think that having this baby is really what they're struggling with.
They haven't even decided where they're going to live yet, and now they're concerned about, like, I don't know. It just, it very much was a scene filler for,
what about this $72,000? Because Kenny didn't flinch. Neither did Armando. Do people just have $72,000? Like, because when she said that, I was like, whoa. Again, I'm not versed in this subject, so I was thinking $25,000, $35,000. So when she said $72,000, I was like, whoa, that's a lot more than I suspected it would cost. But again, I don't know what people are paying, but apparently people are paying more than that.
Well, it kind of depends on, does anybody know what Kenny retired from doing? He might have a very healthy retirement that they're living off of, because he retired before he married Armando and moved.
Yeah.
So he
retired in his 50s. So that makes me think that his pension and retirement was really good to be able to afford to do that and still do what he did. It makes me think he had a really good job. I can't remember exactly what it was. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, you're right. In order for him to retire in his 50s, and still be able to live, and neither him or Armando work as far as I know, and they're still living very comfortably.
And they're on like season 57 of
Pillow Talk, and I know, right? Like
they're getting TLC money regularly, so
yeah,
they have them on top of whatever they have saved.
Wait, Pricks, why is 50s funny? Is that not a good age to retire? Because I've heard people work until they're 69, 70 years old. Is that, I don't know. I thought that was a good thing to be able to retire that early. Is that not?
I'd love to retire in my 50s. That will never happen in this lifetime, but
I know, right? Like, it's like impossible at this point. People are literally working until the day before their funeral. Like, it's like impossible at this point. The way things are going, it's like, oh, well, my funeral's Thursday, so I can work Wednesday. You know, like, that's how we're living now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, it's crazy.
I want to talk about Holly and Wayne, because we didn't last week. And we got the aftermath of Wayne telling Holly that she was dressed like a prostitute. Okay, so his words were, people might think you're a prostitute. He did not say she looked like a prostitute or acted like a prostitute, because I think I misinterpreted that last week. I was like, you can't call her a prostitute. That's not nice. So he said that he was worried that people might mistaken her for being a prostitute, which I kind of understand. I would be
more concerned with people thinking she's a crackhead than a prostitute.
Yeah, she is on something.
Yeah,
she's on something.
She definitely reacts. Her facial expressions and stuff are really weird. I noticed it a lot today. Like I don't know. Like her face looks interesting to me. Like it's different. Like it's not
like
moving.
It's really. Like it's
I saw that, and I was like,
really messed up.
Yes,
and she
I
slurs her words so bad.
I know, and I was like, at first I was like, maybe she just got a lot of Botox in her lips, but I'm not sure. Like I'm not sure anymore. Like I'm really confused by that. And so she took a self-defense class, which I kind of feel like was Wayne's idea, right? Yep. Wayne wanted her to take a self-defense class, and I don't know, like she looked at booking to see homes, right? And she did admit that she has no idea how much Wayne makes, and she doesn't have any idea what the budget would be, but she wants to go look at houses. I don't know. I feel like Wayne made a good point, because he was like, you've been here like a week and now you want to pack up and move. But then in the same sentence, Holly said, I'm never ever going to feel safe in South Africa. So I was like, so why are you wanting to uproot him from a house where you don't feel safe to go to another house where you just admitted that you want to feel safe in either, because you're never going to feel safe in South Africa? It gave me like Ariella vibes, because Ariella used to say the same thing. Like, I don't like it here. It's not safe. The hospitals aren't up to par. I'm never going to be happy here. And I'm thinking like, you know where the airport is. You know, like, you do not have to be here. You do not have to deal with anything you don't want to deal with. And it's been proven, even Wayne said, if you live in a gated community, crime is still rampant everywhere. Like, you're just paying more to have people break into your home. You know, like, it's not like they can't get in.
Like, does she live in a bubble? She said, I come from a country that is safe. Do you not watch the freaking news? You can get shot grocery shopping just because somebody had a bad day. Like, America is not safe. It might be safer than a couple of places, but you didn't come from a safe country. Watch the fucking news.
Yeah, I heard that, and I was thinking the same thing, because even I watched the show Love and Hip Hop, and Shaquille O'Neal's ex-wife, she lived, I don't know, Calabasas, somewhere really nice, and she sold her house because people broke in and robbed her. And we're talking
literally sharing a season with Julio, who had bullets in his kitchen, and you want to talk about your safe country? That's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't understand. What state is she from? What state is she from?
I can't even remember.
I want to say, I kind of want to say Oregon,
nope.
Right? Or no?
Trust me, I would have lost my mind over that.
I'm just curious, because I think it is about living under a rock, because there are people who believe, like, they're like, oh, I live in this area, it's really nice. And I'm like, have you joined the Facebook group for your neighborhood? Because I guarantee you there's things going on in your neighborhood. Oh, Utah. She's from Utah.
Yes. Yep.
I've heard a lot of things about Utah. So.
Me too.
No,
That's interesting. I just feel like she should give it a chance living there and see what it's like, because she is under the impression that it's unsafe where she is, and it's probably unsafe everywhere. You know, it's more so about learning your surroundings and how to keep yourself safe. Because, you know, when I lived in Ohio, I used to go downtown Cleveland for different things. Going downtown was pretty dangerous. You know, you have to make sure you're aware of your surroundings. You don't go around, you know, alone. You don't park in alleys. You have to do things to keep yourself safe. You can't necessarily not go somewhere because it's not safe, right? Like, you just have to take precautions to make sure that you're doing things to keep yourself protected. And I feel like in her mind, she's like, well, I should just live somewhere where it's safer. But it doesn't matter where you live. I told Shaquille O'Neal's ex-wife, she was living in at least an $8-9 million home. Robbed, broke in, kicked in the door, robbed her. She didn't feel safe, had to move. And it's like, it proves to you where you live has no precedent of how safe you are or how you feel. Literally anywhere. Kids go to school, they're not safe. You go to the grocery store, you're not safe. Oh my gosh, remember when there was those church shootings? You couldn't even go to church. Okay, like, it doesn't really matter where you are, what you're doing. Safety is not something that we have anymore. We might have had it 50 to 60 years ago. We just don't have that anymore.
The overall crime rate in Utah is 16% higher than the national average.
Oh, so it's actually not that safe there. So she probably just doesn't watch the news, right? She's one of those people who lives in a bubble.
Crack all the time.
Yep.
Well,
she doesn't want to see herself.
I mean, don't turn on the news if you're one of the people they're talking about, right? You don't want to see see if they got
of the week, and she's 8 of them.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just feel like she's pressuring him to move. Oh, and then we found out that he lost a major client and his income is extremely lower than, I mean, it doesn't matter. She doesn't know what his income was anyway, because she made the statement. She's like, maybe, I should get to know more about the finances. And he was like, well, it's too late. You married me. He's like, regardless of what my finances are, you're stuck with me. Like, this is what it is. But I do think that she should have been asking more questions. Or if you want to come over and start making major changes in the situation you're in, bring some money to help do that, because that helps the process, because she wants to move him to a nicer area. We didn't get to see the area yet, but I can guarantee you it's going to be way out of his price range, because I can just tell when people go shopping with other people's credit card, it's always way out of the realm of existence
Yep.
of what it should be. So I guarantee you he's going to go there and it's going to be something completely outrageous.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
She said she runs at night, but you know, she has to run
In a graveyard.
so she doesn't get caught.
In a graveyard.
Tour.
Well, the witnesses in the graveyard don't talk, right?
I'm sure that was a detour.
Well,
She
Oh my gosh.
wherever she got her stuff through the graveyard to her home.
or maybe that's where you get it. I don't know. I've never bought any. Like maybe that's where you meet because there's no live witnesses to say you were there,
I haven't
right?
either, but I watched Breaking Bad.
That's true. That's true. All right. So what are our thoughts on Holly and Wayne? Are they gonna make it to the wedding? Right. I mean, there's only like what 3 or 4 days left for the wedding, right?
Well, yeah, they'll probably make
They're
it,
not
but
gonna-
it won't last.
Yeah, it's over.
I don't feel like they know enough about each other to get married. Speaking of enough about each other, let's talk about TJ and Kimberly. So we watched Kimberly have a screaming match with TJ's brother, and he called her stupid, which I didn't disagree with.
Yep.
You know, like I didn't necessarily disagree. I also did like the way that he said, look, you need to either be a part of our family and adapt to our culture and learn to coexist with us, or just go home. And I agree with that too, because I was like, she wants to come over to their world, their culture, their home, literally living in their home and ignoring the rules and the cultural responsibilities that she has, all because she said, I've sacrificed a lot, so I shouldn't have to really change. Y'all should change for me. You know, and I was just, she really rubbed me the wrong way tonight. And the way that she spoke to TJ's brother, he just said that we can't deal with you. He was like, we're tolerating you out of love for TJ, but he was like, we don't want you in our family. And I was like, I really admire the honesty. Yep. Because a lot of times when you're marrying into a family, they're not honest. He was just like, look, we don't like you. We don't want you in our house. We don't even want you with our brother, but out of respect for our brother, we're going to let you exist. You know, like you can exist.
I would not even share my garlic with her. That's how much I don't like.
Yes. I mean, but within 5 minutes of her arriving, because he said this, he was like, you abused our brother and you abused our family, because she did. She verbally abused him. She yelled at him for hours right after arriving. And it's just, she showed a deep level of disrespect.
Yeah.
And that is, people always say your first impression is your most important impression. And she came in screaming, acting a baby, having a temper tantrum, and sitting on top of a, what was it, like a shelf like this for hours and just yelling. And now the family has made up their mind about her, and it's her fault. And I mean, yeah. I don't understand why she behaved the way that she did. She came in acting, she knew that it was going to be an issue though, because when she was leaving to go to India, she's like, I'm worried about the apartment, if it's going to be what I want, and if it's going to be up to my standards. And she went in there expecting things to be wrong, and then she reacted in such a horrible way. And it's like, if she wanted to have a conversation with her future husband, go out to a coffee shop and have a conversation. Don't yell and scream and disrespect him in front of his family, especially not a family who is so culturally involved and so close and well-knit. Yeah. Like, but when the brother found out that she and TJ were having an argument, he wanted to solve it. Like, that's how close they are. Because, you know, in America, if we find out that our sibling is having a fight, we'll watch them fight, but we're not going to get involved. You know, like, we're not that close. You know, like, if they want to yell at each other, I'll watch, but I'm not going to get involved because that is their problem, and I'm not involving myself in that because I have other things going on. But he wanted to actually help fix things, and I think that Kimberly is not used to a family dynamic, you know, of people being that close and wanting to fix things positively. Because even the brother was like, do you want this to go on? Oh, no, TJ was like, do you want this to go on for, like, the next 50 years? Or do you want to resolve this? And Kimberly is just like, no, I don't really want to resolve it. I just don't care. And I feel like she definitely has come in and shown that she's just going to do what she wants to do. And the wedding, the implementing her life with his family, it's all going to explode. And I'm excited to see it because I know her family is about to arrive. And if this is the way she acts, I can only imagine how her family acts. So I'm kind of ready to see them interacting with each other because there will be some screaming, throwing, maybe fist throwing. I don't know. I'm excited for it.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
You know, she was showing her level of immaturity all through the whole thing, but especially tonight when he said something about you're just being trash, and she says, takes trash to know trash, doesn't it? It's just like, come on. But you know, he did it right back. So they were both being really immature.
Yeah.
I liked TJ from the beginning, but I had so much respect for him tonight, the way he stood up for her, because he had her back like he should. Even though she's wrong, he still had her back. So that gave me a lot more respect for TJ. Even though I've liked him from the beginning, it's still, I mean, that was like, good for you. Good on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's playing both sides. Like, she was being so disrespectful and rude to Yash when they were by themselves.
Yep.
But in front of TJ, she was trying to act like she's all innocent.
Yep.
Yeah. He called her out, too, because he's like, she's pretending to be so calm when she screamed and cussed at me. And it's like, yeah, she's playing the side. She wants TJ to believe that she's the victim.
Yep.
That she didn't do anything wrong. She sat down and he was yelling at her and he was being mean to her, and she wants him to believe that. I don't think that TJ believes that, though. I think that TJ knows that she has a smart mouth, and I think that he also knows that she can be very disrespectful. But I do, like you said, I do like that he still stood up for her, because when you're going to marry somebody, you're going to be with somebody, right or wrong, you know, you got to be there for them, bail money or not. You know, you got to be there. That's your person. Stand by your girl, stand by your man. I always believe that. So I did feel like he took that initiative, because, you know, we watched some guys from India in the past. They don't necessarily always stand by their girl. They stand next to wherever their mom is and just say, I don't know her that well. Yeah, so I did agree with that, but I just don't see why he wants to be with such a spoiled little princess. You know, like, I just...
But they're probably fighting right now that the episode's over. TJ just
yes, they're fighting constantly. They're never going to get along, and she's such a nitpick nagger.
No,
like, she's just like...
I mean, TJ probably just seen how she actually acted to her brother tonight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like he knows.
Yeah.
I do feel like he knows how she acts, though, because the way she was acting when she first arrived, I was like, I feel like he knows the way that she has these tantrums. I feel
like he knows that, too. But the way she sat there, all calm and quiet, and he had to call her out to say, yeah, you're being phony right now, essentially. You know, TJ didn't see that part. So tonight he sees that part. So whether they're still together or not, he's probably like, damn, girl, I had your back and I shouldn't have.
No, I think at this point, though, he's taken up for her because of, you know, they're going to be married. Yeah. But he can't always win. And I think that's what she has.
But remember, he's got some bombshells that he's waiting to drop on her until after they're married.
I forgot about that. That's true.
Remember that?
Yep.
What bombshells?
He's got
that
her roles in life.
Yeah, what
she
is, what she is, and what she is not going to do, how she's going to dress, what she is not going to eat, how she's going to act. So, yeah.
So,
remember, he said that he didn't want to say anything to her because he didn't want to upset her before the wedding. Yep. But after they're married, that's when he's going to tell her the truth about everything.
Yep.
So what's up with that? Because Wayne said that on this episode too. He said, I'm going to fight that battle of how she dresses after we get married. What is the deal with men waiting to get married to start dropping, what's the word?
Bomb?
The bombs on the women. Like, they're like expectations. They want to drop expectations. I feel like expectations are something that you should drop before you get married, so she can decide if she wants to go through with that or not.
That's just it. I think this is going to sound crazy, but I think it's a cultural thing. Even in South Africa and India, they're like, they can't get divorced. So once I get you to marry me, too late. Now I can tell you all the bullshit. I think.
Oh, I see. So divorce is not an option.
Yeah.
So if you tell her beforehand, she literally could just walk away. She's not married.
Yep.
Because I didn't like that. Because when Wayne said, was like, I'll fight the battle of how she dresses after we get married. And I was like, no, you don't really marry someone and then say, hey, you got to change this about yourself. that's either you marry them for who they are, or you don't marry them. But I have to remember that's different cultures, different countries. People do things differently. But I don't see how that's going to blow over well with Kimberly, because 4 a.m. tea, making tea and cleaning the house and having like a chore, because he explained it like there's a chore board, like the women take days and they do these. She's never going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
She didn't like the height of the doors in the apartment. Like, she's never going to be okay with waking up at 4 a.m. and being a maid to his family, people that she doesn't even like, because she made it very clear in the episode tonight she don't like any of them. She's tolerating them for TJ. So how do you feel when she decides to wake up at 4 a.m. and make the mom and sister and brother and all these family members tea and breakfast and clean their house, clean
I
their
wouldn't
linen?
need a drink after her. I know that. She might be put poison or something in it.
Yeah.
Completely.
Would you trust her to make food for you?
No.
Completely off topic. Christy's in here, and it's Christy's birthday today. Happy birthday, Christy.
Happy birthday, Christy.
Happy birthday, Christy. But yeah, I wouldn't trust her. After she sat there and told me that she did not like me or my family, I would not eat or drink anything she made.
Nope.
I try to wrap my head around the fact when people who are very, very close-minded try to date or marry someone from another country, and then not just date, but then try to move over to that other country. And it's like, you're a closed-minded person. You shouldn't even be living the town you shouldn't even be leaving the town you were born in, because you don't understand anything else. So I was like, the fact that you want to go and change someone and have them change their culture for you, I think that's what really gets me. It's like, I get that compromise is a thing in a relationship, but you want to go into another country. It's like going into a country where they speak a different language and say, hey, well, I don't speak that language. Since I'm here, speak this one. Yeah. You know, that's how crazy it sounds to me. Like, you don't get to tell people what to do and how to live in their own country, because you wouldn't like that if someone came to your country and did that to you. You know, you have to adapt to the surroundings around you. And
but I don't understand how she was there for a year. So she knows this shit, and she's acting all surprised. Like, she knows.
But they lived in their own apartment, though.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say
probably that's why.
Yeah,
is what I'm thinking.
No, she has to know a lot more about the culture than she's letting on after being there for a year. If I went somewhere for a year, I would know a lot of what was happening around me so that I could act right.
He made false promises.
That's true.
Or she was living the way she was living, and she figured, I see these things, but I'm not going to accept them. He's not going to make me do those things. Because I was like, maybe she was there. She did notice her surroundings. She did notice how things were, but he never made it seem like he was going to ask her to do those things. Because when he said, well, I'm not going to tell her any of this until we're married, I was like, well, maybe he is part of the problem. Maybe he made it seem like when they were living together that their life was not going to be the way it is now when they're getting married. Yeah. Because I was like, maybe she was under the impression that the way that she was allowed to go and come and go as she pleases, he was allowed to live in that apartment away from his parents. Maybe she thought that was the way it was going to be. Right. And that's why she came back. Because I was like, I don't think she would have actually came back to marry him if she thought that she was going to have to live with the parents and cook and clean and make chai at 4 a.m.
So,
and do it. I don't think she would have.
Did I miss something? Okay, so she was there for a year. You said that they had an apartment. They together, or she had an apartment?
She had an apartment, but he went and stayed with her.
Yeah, he would stay there.
What I understood how she explained it in the beginning.
So I'm curious why, if that's the case, she knows that he can just leave and be with her, and the brother already made the announcement that he's the bridge of the family. So I don't understand why he didn't take all that money and just get it their own place.
I don't know.
Probably because of the culture. Yeah. I mean, because they all love to live with each other. And then they even said tonight that whenever Yash gets married, him and his wife will live with them as well.
Yeah, but he said he's the bridge of the family. So
yeah, he did say that.
TJ's just whatever. TJ's just there. So The brother's got to take care of everything. TJ's just there. So I feel like it would have, I mean, you knew that she's a snotty little snatch, you know, when she came. So I'd be like, I'll just get us our own place so that my family doesn't have to see how horrible she is, and then I'll marry her anyway. Then I'll drop
I think that he wouldn't get his mom's blessing that way, though, right? I feel like you have to do it the way they say to do it. And I think when you get married, because I know Submit's mom wanted Jenny to live with them too. I mean, I don't think she did, but she used that as a way to maybe deter them from getting married.
Not the same season, but I can't remember. Does Submit's brother and his wife live with the parents also, or are they out on their own?
They live on their own.
Do they?
They live on their own. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't live with the parents.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess
maybe, I mean, now just because they're in India, each part of India could possibly have their own cultural rules.
That's true. Because it's a very big country. It's possible that there's different variations of cultures and religious practices. Like you could be one religion but practice differently.
Yeah.
I've learned that as well. So maybe there is a little variation between it. But that's a good point, though, because if you don't have to live together, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, that is I've never been one to pressure anyone to live with anybody's in-laws or whatever. I think it's a disaster waiting to happen. It's like driving into a tornado. Yeah. Like, right? Like you turn your car.
I'm already going to tell you, if you can't afford to have me a house by myself, just me and you by ourselves, I don't need to be with you. Yeah. Because I'm not living with nobody. Yep. I'm sorry.
Especially a freaking in-law.
Yeah, thank you. They can come and visit, but they got to go.
So Portuguese Princess says the boys stay with the parents and the girls move to the guy's parents' house. Is that what it says? So the boys stay with the parents and the girls move to the guy's parents. Oh, so when the daughter finds a husband, she moves in with the guy's parents, and then the boys stay in the house with their parents with their wives.
But that's not how it worked for Jenny and Submit.
No. Well, no. But they didn't actually get the blessing of the family. No.
But the brother did.
Well, yeah, the brother did. The brother.
And they lived separately.
Yeah, that was an arranged marriage. The parents agreed with it, but yeah, they don't live together.
So because the brother moved out, they were trying to keep Submit, so they had someone to take care of them.
Yes, I'm assuming so.
That makes sense.
It's an interesting way to live because I am so against living even for family. For me, like I've told y'all before, like if my family is less than a 4-hour plane ride away, that's too close. Yeah. Like that is too close. I need y'all to be farther away from me. You know, we get along really well on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter. Yeah. Any other days of the year, we are fighting. And even on those 3 days, we still be arguing. So too close for comfort. So like if my mom was in my house 24/7, it would not work. I remember when I was 18, I grew up and moved out at 18 because I couldn't deal with my mom's. She wanted me to go to church. Like I had a job and she's like, oh no, you can't go to work. You have to go to church. And I was like, but the church doesn't pay me any money. I want to go to work. Yeah. So I'm like, we just couldn't make it work. So I definitely have a lot of respect for these men who are in their 30s, 40s, living with their mom and still respecting her wishes, because I know how difficult that has to be. You can't even make decisions on your own. She's making these decisions for you so late in life. I can't even imagine.
See, I had the best relationship with my parents. They were wonderful people. And I moved out and got married when I was 17.
Oh, wow. Early.
Not because I wanted out of the house or any of that. My story was even worse than half the shit we see on TV. I met him in April. He moved in. We got a house together 3 weeks later, and we got married on the 4th of July.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was fast.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so
29 years ago, and he's sitting in my living room.
I was just about to ask that. So wait, were your parents okay with it, or was it something you had to sell them on?
Obviously, I had to sell them on it.
Okay.
They had to sign papers allowing it.
Because was that easy? Was that easy to convince, or did it take a lot?
I was 6 months away from being 18, so I mean, either way, I could have done it, but my parents were like, I mean, I had a job and he had a job and we had our life straight, and you know, we were doing okay. He's 6 years older than me, so he was 23, and that was my concern. Is I'm a minor, he is not. Hey, mom and dad, like,
Right.
like it, right? But it was how fast it moved that made
Yeah.
you know, them and everybody else. You'll never make it. You'll never make it. You'll never make it. And here we are.
Yeah, you can't let outside interference get into your relationships and your love. People always stir people the wrong way all the time.
The hardest time when I'm watching the show and they're like, you guys have only known each other for 6 months. That's so fast. I'm like, wow, you guys waited 6 months? Like,
right? Like, that's a lifetime, right?
We're already having our 3-month anniversary then.
So, okay. So this episode was a little short. So, okay. I haven't watched The Last Resort yet, so I'm going to watch it tonight. And we're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to do a live reaction to the show. I'm excited. I didn't watch. Okay, so none of you watched that 1 hour preview yesterday,
no.
right? Okay, so I'm going to watch the show and then I'm going to watch because I heard it was like a pillow talk preview, so I'm going to watch that today too. So, and then we're going to come back tomorrow with all of you guys and we are going to react to the first episode of The Last Resort. I can't wait. I'm really excited. I've stayed off of Twitter today so far because I didn't want any spoilers. Because I know the 90 Day Fiance Twitter will post like 3 and 4 minute clips. I don't want to see anything yet. So I'm going to watch it tonight. Make sure you guys are back here tomorrow night with us so we can discuss it with all of you. We want to know exactly how you guys feel. This is the newest spinoff from 90 Day and it's highly rated. I've heard a lot of different things said about it. So I'm really interested. There's real licensed doctors on site. Okay, so this isn't just entertainment. There's real doctors. So I'm really excited to see how this goes.
Do we have a time for
Oh, what time are you available? Since no 90-day shows are on, we can go earlier. So
I'm ready whenever.
I can do
Y'all already know my schedule's open, so just let me know.
Yeah, if you guys want to do 8 Eastern or if that's too early.
Nope, that's good.
Okay, let's do 8 Eastern. Tomorrow. Make sure you guys are back here so we can discuss it and make sure you're commenting and telling us exactly how you guys feel. And I just want to get deep into these couples issues because they finally get to tell us what's really been going on between closed doors because we didn't really know. So I'm excited. All right, guys, thanks for joining us for this episode. This was The Other Way. We're on episode 6 of The Other Way. Please follow my co-hosts, Dee and Cara. I'm going to tag them in this video. Follow me at George Mossey, georgemossey.com. And anywhere you get your podcast, type in The George Mossey Show. And we're going to talk to all of you guys tomorrow night. Bye.
Yep. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.